Okay, so as you can see, I've messed my eyes up a little bit. No, I'm not on drugs. I This is looks maxing gone wrong. Messing around with my eyelashes, fucked it up. Don't copy me. Do copy me with the fat loss and the eyebrows and other stuff. You won't go wrong with those, but the eyelashes are messed up. But another topic for another time. With all the riots that have been going on in the UK recently, I thought this would be an interesting topic because I'm not the first person to say this. Has been said many times by many people, and it's very true that tough times, i.e., World War Two, World War One or Two, create very strong men. Strong men create easier times. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create hard times, and we are now in that phase. World War One and Two, that kind of generation, obviously was strong because they had to be. And then there was a massive boom of kids born out after that generation where everything was very easy in comparison. And a lot of societal brainwashing came in around that period. And these men were a lot softer than the generation before them. And then every single generation since then, men have gotten softer, weaker, mostly up here, but also physically, emotionally as well. And ultimately, we're now paying the price for it. It's going to get a hell of a lot worse. So, I mean, we can talk about things like economics. We can talk about libertarianism versus socialism. We can talk about the US dollar. We can talk about Bank of England. We can talk about immigration, welfare states, all this boring, maybe not boring, but all this stuff. And the fact that, yeah, we can look at the external stuff, the religion, the religious stuff, the people not being able to afford housing, massive inflation, mass immigration, tons of debt for all these Western governments, especially the US. We can talk about all the external stuff, but they're not really the problem. You know, yes, we can talk about voters voting for things that they don't really understand, and even women voting, that's a controversial one. But I think all of that is ultimately missing the point. Each generation, things have been getting worse and worse and worse. And the question is, why is such a huge percentage of the population, including men, because it's not just women voting for this stuff, why are so many men voting for these policies? Why do they want a welfare state, which is essentially other people paying for your problems? Why do they want mass immigration? Why have they been so easily brainwashed to believe certain things instead of believing their own eyes? Why is this happening? And it's ultimately because they're getting softer and softer and softer with each decade. And I'm not saying testosterone is the only answer to this, but I'm saying it is a big one. Because here's a thought. If every man in the UK, and this is coming for the US as well, it will be a slightly different flavour for the US because you guys have guns and you're not right next to Europe where the movement of labour is just insanely easy, and you're in a different part of the world, so it'll be a different flavour, but it is coming. Civil unrest is coming all over these Western countries, everywhere. So a big question is, if every single American male and every single British male, every single European male, if all of them had the same testosterone levels that their grandparents had, or more specifically, the World War II generation had, would these problems still be happening right now? I guarantee they wouldn't. Guaranteed they wouldn't be happening. The tough times, the times that are coming, because mark my words, it's going to get way worse. This is just the beginning of it. That kind of stuff doesn't happen when the entire country is strong. It's weakness that invites these problems in. It's softness, it's naivety. And when that softness is on a mass level, there's going to be forces that come in and attack, and then you have problems. But again, I can't control the entire country. You guys can't. But you can control yourself. And I think it's very important to realize that making things easy for yourself makes you soft, and then your entire life gets worse as a result. If you make things difficult for yourself, your life in the end gets easier, if that makes sense. Whereas living a very easy life might be cushy and might be easy now, just like it has been for most people since the World War II era. But eventually, those problems will come about in the future, and they will hit you 10 times harder than they are right now if you address them directly. So it applies on a macro level, like for the UK and the US, but it also applies on an individual level. You want to be tough on yourself now. You want to make your life more difficult now, so that you can live not a problem-free, but a less problematic life going forward, a better life going forward, because you're equipped here and here to make that a reality. There's always going to be problems, but if you are exceptionally weak internally, those problems are going to be so much stronger in the future, and you won't be able to deal with them. It starts with the internal. It starts with making things harder on yourself. It starts with getting your testosterone up, rising to the challenges instead of cowering away from them. And then the rest of your life gets easier as a result of that. So I don't really have anything to pitch to you at the end of this. I just thought it was a very interesting topic to talk about. I would like to see what your guys' thoughts are, because there's a lot of memes out there on social media at the moment where people will talk about countries and politics, and it's all very externalized, whereas not many people seem to make it about the individual. Yes, there's been easy times. Yes, now there's harder times coming. Yes, men are pussies on average, but what are you going to do about it as an individual? I think is a very interesting question. How are you going to make your life tougher so that you become tougher? I think is very, very interesting. What is that? Go away. And I think it's something that all of us should think about. And I think it's something that will ultimately only benefit you and the people immediately around you, your family, your friends, that kind of thing. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are below, and I'll be glad to hear from you. Speak to you in the next one.